And welcome everybody to the 25 Marketing Mastermind. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. We've had a couple of hiccups within the last 10 minutes or so things have changed for a bit. We were going to have a guest on today, but it looks like we're going to be having that person on next week. But you know, this is the type of thing you prepare for in this industry. Things don't always go to plan, and that's okay. We just move on, and we help people thinking on their feet. Today we have Jamie and myself on the hangout today. Pops and Katie are having internet issues, and they're not going to be able to be on today. But that's okay. As I said, things happen, things change. We roll with the punches, and we've got something planned for you today, and we hope it's going to be very helpful. So with that being said, I'm going to go over and ask how Jamie is doing today. I did mute you out for a second there because you came on, but how are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fantabulous, as Katie would say. Been digging into some Facebook paid marketing training, and it's really good stuff. I didn't really pay much attention to paid marketing at all. And I started with teaching people in our workshop how to do Facebook paid likes, really cheap. And so I've dug more into it, and it's really fascinating what you can do with it. So that's what I've been digging into in the workshop. Saturday was phenomenal. They've taught custom avatar, and I've been thinking real hard on that and trying to come up with a custom avatar. So it's been really cool. So
awesome, man, awesome. And for those of you who are jumping on right now, we've got something that you can definitely use, whether you're in this industry for a while, or you're just getting started, or anything like that. We're going to cover what you can actually do to get going with your business, even if you don't have all the fancy tools on that, for getting started with your business. And we did cover this in the workshop, but we're going to go over it again in this particular section. And we're going to be talking about how to actually get things going. And we have Mr. Joe Wisler on right now, and he's here. Joe, how you doing, buddy? Joe?
Yeah.
Joe's on.
Hi. Sorry.
Not a problem, man. We were just telling everybody that we were going to cancel for next week.
Yeah, I didn't realize that I was supposed to be here early. Yeah.
Okay. No. Didn't you get the message I sent? Oh, that's all right. That's all right. We sent it. We just thought something had happened.
No. I just sat down. I saw your message with the link, so I clicked on a link. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So we've got Joe on as our guest, and Joe, we've had a bit of a hiccup with this week's hangout. Joe, Katie, and Pops are not able to make it today because they've got internet issues, and that's okay. We roll with the punches, and we're glad that you actually made it, because today, guys, what we're actually going to do, and I think we will do right now, and I'm assuming Joe's ready for it, is that Joe has been a guy who's had a lot of difficulties, you would say, with regards to himself. I know that he's retired. I know that he had a heart attack, and he's had a lot of difficulties, including the fact that he also has a speech impediment, and the fact that he has a lisp. But despite all of that, Joe is able to get started with a business, and he's starting to gain momentum. I know he's had quite a few sales before, and he got back into this industry, and now he's actually gaining a lot of momentum. So, Joe, what we want to do now is I just wanted to hand it over to you and to ask you to introduce yourself to us, give us a bit of a backstory, and how you got started in the industry.
Okay. I probably can say that I dabbled in it because I was full-time employed for many years, as a social worker, and I lisped and I stuttered right through that for 26 years. I didn't care at all, and obviously I was able to get through. It was never mentioned. I never had anybody ever say anything to me about it, and I spoke to groups. As a matter of fact, I spoke to groups as often as I could regarding abuse, abuse in the family, abuse with children, and I did trainings for different things with ministers of religion and a wide variety of things. So I kind of enjoy getting up and talking, but I do lisp, especially with this. You'll I think you'll hear it more when I have that down. It's closer to my mouth, and I do stutter from time to time. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't let it stop. And I was quite determined to not let it stop me here. And and by looking at people, I realized that folks were just folks, and that I was still gonna do okay. I had a bad heart attack upstairs in this. I'm downstairs in an office now, but I had a well, it wasn't a heart attack. My heart arrested. My heart stopped. It's like that. Just over 11 years ago, and I had already called the ambulance because I didn't feel well, and I knew pretty much that I was ill, but I didn't think I was that ill. And I had 5 bypasses. My cholesterol was not that bad at the time. I couldn't understand it, and the doctor came out. You know how the doctor is when they come out and they talk to your wife or your husband, your family afterwards. This doctor had no bedside manner at all. He came out and he said, and he complained bitterly about how difficult my operation was. And my wife was sitting there. You know how she would be, just kind of sitting there, you know, her mouth open. Well, is he alive? Is he? Oh, yes, he's alive. There's no problem with him. But Buddy swore. He said my arteries were so small that it was very difficult to sew me up, and he was complaining quite bitterly. And that's. Of course, I was not hearing any of this. I was still out, but I recovered quite well from that, and I recovered because I followed the directions. There was a chart of a paper saying that you walk for 3 minutes today, 5 minutes tomorrow, 7-8 minutes the next day, whatever it was. And of course I wanted to walk much more. At the beginning I thought I could do what I could do. Well, I couldn't. And very soon I just discovered, well, I'll follow what the so-and-so said to do. And very, very gradually I recovered quite well. I'm not as strong as I used to be, but I don't care. If you want to hear my funny story, you've got to watch the video. I'm not going to repeat it here. I will tell one funny story though, because I had I developed prostate cancer 2012. And actually I had no symptoms, meaning I could still pee. I had no pain, no symptoms, but my PSA, my blood test was up, and it kept going up. So I was sent out to be tested further, and sure enough, I was, I had a good piece of cancer in there, and I remember going in now for treatment, because the treatment that was agreed upon was a radiation, and of course they've got to irradiate you down there. It's a very awkward spot to get at, and they give you little tattoos so that they can line the machine up. It's this great big machine that they line up, and they do it with, and so they tattoo you with little, apparently it's little dots. Well, I couldn't see them to save my soul. But the first time I was in there, and of course, just picture yourself now. You're laying down there on this table with your backside elevated, and these people are looking at your parts down there. And so I said, now I'm gonna make them laugh. Okay, I'm gonna make them laugh. So I said, well, the tattoos are really nice, but they don't work in the biker bar. And you could see they were just quiet. They had been talking, and I said, no, they didn't work in the biker bar at all. And of course, there's, bikers have tattoos, and I hope I'm not I'm not embarrassing anybody, but some people got tattoos all over them. Well, I had these 4 little dots in place that you'd never expose ordinarily. And these people were so intent on what they were doing. Boy, I made them laugh, because I made this joke about the biker bar. So that's part of what I am. I like to grab people and make them laugh, do something a little silly, a little funny, and get them going. But the one thing that I learned from the experience with my heart is that you have to keep exercising all your life, as long as the rest of you allows you to walk or do whatever you can do. So when I came in here, I was taught that you must continue, you must keep at it, you must follow instructions, you must follow instructions, and you must really do what you need to, you must really do, and keep at it. So I'm quite determined to be doing that. I'm told to blog, I'm told to do this, I'm told to do that. You can be sure I'm going to be doing it. And I felt so bad today, and I shared it with Sonia, who I was talking to earlier today. And I said, and she said, you're going to be interviewed tonight. And I said, yes. And I felt so, because I spent almost no time in my office today. I was upstairs doing my taxes, because they're due at the end of the month, and I've got them basically finished now. So the man who sits here and is telling you, boy, every day you got to do this, every day you got to do that, he didn't do much of it today, but that's just a blip in the road. Almost all the time, I get my work done. I'm retired, for God's sake. I've got hours that people don't have. I really admire, especially the young mothers who struggle with their time, and as myself, who worked before, I knew that I only had a couple of hours of time when I was going to be awake in the evenings to do a job. to do this kind of work. But so my message is, if you can make them laugh, if it's in your personality to make them laugh, to encourage them to laugh, make them laugh. Or there's some part in each one of you that will come out. I don't know what it is. I think it's Dave that said there's 10,000 folks out there for each one of us. God, we don't need more than to attract 10,000.
Joe, I got to say, Joe, I wanted to say, no, it's fine, it's fine. You got started in the industry, I think, a few years ago. Before this, right? You've already had a moderate of success in selling online as well. But I do know that you started off, and I was saying to Jamie earlier, because I actually didn't realize this until recently, but because in this industry we help each other out regardless. And I just, you actually are Pat Patterson's sponsor. Pat was the guy that signed you up, and I was just wondering if you could talk to us about how you actually met Pat and the impact it had on your life and why you got started. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I don't think I'm ready for that, exactly how I got into Pat at the beginning. I had been selling on Amazon, and I'd been drop shipping on Amazon and on eBay. Well, it's about 3 years, and I basically, at the end of 2015. It was 3 years. At the end of 2015, during this past year, I was just doing my taxes, so I had sales in I was dealing with both the U.S. and the Canadian pages for both Amazon. So I basically had an Amazon page, an account in the U.S. and in Canada, and the same for eBay. And I was busy with that, and I had just said, this is enough. I made over $1,000 a couple of months in there. Well, a few months all together, but it was such a struggle. I found it a real struggle, and every time you got a sale, and you're so pleased, but are you going to be able to fill the sale? Does Walmart have it? Does Wayfair have it? Does whoever it is, your suppliers? And you usually try to get more than one supplier for each item, and you had 100 items up, maybe more on four sites. That was, you talk about balancing things. That was a struggle, and I ended up the odd time when I couldn't fulfill an order, and luckily enough, it wasn't enough to get me in to trouble with the sites. But it was a problem, and I thought there's got to be a different way. And I knew that I wanted to sell information, and I knew I wanted to be an affiliate. That part I knew. Exactly how I connected with Pat, I don't really know. And I was turned off by Pat initially, and then I thought, look at this guy. This guy is great. He carries on. He uses words that I don't use ordinarily, but he, and as a social worker, that I'm very careful with what I say, and with women, I think I'm polite most of the time, but I was attracted to him, and it went on from there. I think I got the $10 deal, and I wasn't in for 2 days before I bought in.
Yeah, you know, because the one thing I will say about Pat, and because he is my sponsor as well, is that he is incredibly determined. You know, he's willing to help. You know, no matter where you are, and I got to say, he's one of those guys you either love him or you hate him. But the one thing is for sure is that he's definitely determined to get you over the next edge if you're willing to make the effort. And but tell us a bit more about your story. That would be awesome.
Okay. Well, I think I'm pretty much finished with that bit. I really didn't want to do, and the thing is, I just left it and watched it and let the ads go, you know, let the listings expire, and nothing expires on Amazon. And I had a $3,000 sale for a huge in June of last year. It was a Canadian sale for a big what do you call it, an electric a generator, and it was shipped to an isolated place in Quebec, and I didn't even think that they could deliver there to this place. It's even more, well, it's not as isolated as I am, but it's kind of at the end of the road, you know. And no, they assured me they could deliver it. Well, that thing was shipped from California by Wayfair, and it worked just like this. It worked just like this. And that particular one, I had a lot of dealings with that fella because we were talking about where the thing was and everything. And he couldn't speak English. He wrote to me in French. I put it on the Google Translate, and it worked fine. So I know I can deal with almost anybody. I don't care where they are. Now, I can't hear them on the phone. I mean, I can hear them, but I won't be able to translate it on the phone. But if they write me, I probably can make sense of it and write something back in English that then makes sense to them, you know. So it's the idea of not stopping. I don't, well, there's another point now. I don't have much support from my wife of 48 years, and that's not an unusual thing from what I understand. But I'm handling it by just, I'm going to be very pleased to give her some extra money here one of these days. That's a very, very positive thing for me. You know, when she can start seeing some extra money that goes into her direct, well, not directly, but through the business account, so that she can see that I'm making some, you know. And because before she was getting some, you know, there was always money there, and now I'm in a dry patch now. But I know if I keep at it, it's gonna work, because it's worked for all the rest of you guys. Why shouldn't it work for me? I can't work as hard as you can, Dave. I can't stay up that long. I don't function. Eventually, I don't function. But I'm 20 years older than you are, or more. I'm 30 years older than you are. So I'm gonna say I have an excuse. That's the only excuse you'll hear from me, that I can't work quite as hard physically as Dave does, because I'm 30 years older than he is. So I gotta tell you, that's my excuse.
I got to tell you, Joe, you're a great inspiration, because looking at your situation with everything going around you, being retired, and the difficulties that you've had to overcome, it's got to be people that are watching this right now thinking, gee, I'm not getting any results. I'm not actually getting any leads. I'm not making any sales. And I'm looking at Joe thinking, gee, if Joe can do this, so can I. And hopefully, I'm pretty sure that goes to everybody else watching in our separate situations. All right. So, you've got Jamie over there. He's working a full-time job and he's getting results. And, I live in a third world country and I'm getting results. And you live in Canada.
Yeah, I live in a very isolated area of Canada. Yes.
And you're getting results, so there's no excuses actually for not getting any results in your business. Because the one thing I have noticed, and one of the reasons I wanted you on here, is because you just keep on producing, you keep on making your videos, you keep on writing out your blogs, you keep on actively being part of the groups that you're in, because you're not just part of our team and our workshop, you also are around other places as well, and you go and you get whatever you can to implement in your business. And that's just a tremendous inspiration to myself, and I'm sure to everybody else watching. If you guys are inspired listening to Joe right now, please just say you are, and just so you can give him some encouragement as well. Because I understand, Joe, when I first spoke to you a while back, you were concerned about the little things, right? About do I look all right on camera? Let me hide everything behind me because it doesn't look
here.
Look,
Dave. It's still there. The sheet is still there. I had an old thing that I made out of 2x4s for shelving here, and I hid it behind that, and Dave said, no, boy, you can't have that. Well, I wasn't going to remove that. I simply moved the camera over. So I got rid of it as far as Dave was concerned. But that's absolutely true. The only other thing is, we've lived here for in this place almost 25 years. It'll be 25 years in August, and this is a place that there's a ferry that goes across to Newfoundland from here now, and there's a road that goes up north and goes out around eventually to the rest of North America. But that road is not in good shape now. It's soft. It's soft now, so the vehicles are having trouble. But I have talked to people before, and they say, "What do you mean you're living in an isolated area?" Well, I says, so how far is it that you have to go to get to your Walmart store, your local store? Well, it's across the street, or it's 10 minutes away, or 20 minutes away. I have to drive like 20 minutes to the ferry. You always have to get there an hour early for the reservation. You get on the boat, you go for an hour and a half on the boat, and then it's about a 4 to 5 hour drive south to Corner Brook, where the main shopping is. Now we have stores here. We have good food. We have stuff brought in by truck and by boat. So the vegetable, that kind of stuff is good here. But the shopping is not particularly good, So to me, that's a plus. To me, to live in an isolated area is a plus. I can put my home address up on the internet, knowing nobody's going to come. No angry person is going to come to my door. Honest to God, they're not going to make it here. Dave, you're laughing, boy, but that's absolutely true.
No, I'm sure. I'm
So
sure. I mean,
yes, it's a difficult place to get to. It's an expensive place to get into and out of.
I see.
But it's home now. We've been here almost 25 years, and I hope I don't have to leave. But you don't know what the future has. And one of the reasons I want to keep I want to get more income is to make it a little easier to get out. The wife can fly out to visit her family a couple extra times a year. That would be very nice, but not within our present budget. Myself, I'm happy here most of the time. I really don't want to go out ordinarily, but I know my wife does, and that's a reasonable thing.
Now tell me, Joe, if you wouldn't mind sharing with everybody, what is your primary way that you work on to get yourself leads and sales?
Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, I followed the training in the because you're instructed to only look at one item at once. One way. I think I'm pretty good at it now. I use three different accounts. It's working reasonably well. When I have time to do it. Sometimes I don't get a chance to do it. The training says 1,000 a day. To put up 1,000 a day, you can't really do 1,000 a day because you've got to get rid of stuff, But if I can get 600 up a day in each account, I get a pretty good response.
What do you mean by 1,000 a day?
You put up 1,000 requests where you go in and you try to request a new person to follow you. Yeah, new followers. That's what the training says. But you're getting. I mean, I still have just under 5,000 followers in one account, and around 4,000 in the other two. Almost going on. It's over 4 in the other two accounts, and they keep coming in and coming out. It's a big when you use. I wasn't prepared for that question. Social. I use Social Oomph, and that works.
Joe, that's okay. We're not asking you to go into detail about that. But one thing that we do encourage you to do is think on your feet and to be prepared for whatever comes your way.
Yes.
This is what we like to do. And it's especially true for the workshop that we have on Saturday. But before we go into that, I just want to ask if perhaps Jamie's got a question he wants to ask you, or anything to that effect, because I just think you're an inspiration, man. And I really thank you for your efforts.
I have one other thing to say after Jamie.
Okay, sure. Jamie.
Everybody don't know how to take Pat when they first meet him, and I connected with Pat right away when I first met him because I met him live in Nashville the first time I met him, and met him in his office, the smoking section, and he came up and introduced himself to me, and just started talking to me, and asked me if I was doing videos, and I'm like, no, I'm scared to death. He's like, dude, you got to do Facebook videos, and he was just Pat, and I connected with him right away. He was And then I met him again the next year in Nashville again, and got to hang out with him, and I got to meet all the leaders that year, and I had hung out with Katie and Pops as well. I met them in person as well. So I've met him in person, and what you see on the screen, that's what you get in person, you know, and Dave can attest to that, because Dave has met him in person as well. So, but so is Twitter the only strategy you focus on, or you focus on, or you dabbling in a few others?
Well, that's what I'm gonna say next, is that I was taught initially to focus, and then of course you get the chance to learn about all these other different things, and you know, oh well, there's this training and that training, so you go to this other training, and then you think, oh geez, I want to do some of that, and then you let the other thing slip, and your leads fall down. So in fact, I blogged on this point, that you know, you need to do the one thing, and you don't need to beat yourself up about not attending some other training, because you know, if I had a Facebook account after I retired, but I never used it for anything but some local friends and some religious friends and that kind of stuff. Never used it for business in the other business at all. So I had no trouble to not get on Facebook much. And with the stuff that you were teaching, Jamie, I made an exception, and I said, look, I've got to get my fan page up, and I've got to get some likes on my fan page, and I'm going to follow Jamie in that regard. And if it worked for me, I spent $27. I got well over 5,000. I'm still getting engagement. I'm getting engagement from that. Unfortunately, some of them are 12 or 13. But I mean, you know, you see these really young faces, and you say, thanks for the like, and you just, I mean, I don't want to be, I don't want their parents to say, why are you dealing with my daughter, you know, on Facebook. So careful with what I say about, you know, in response to them. But there are some older people, and I'm really amazed at that. So I only did that for 6 days, I think, guys, and it really worked. It was good, and I suggest you go back and look at Jamie's training or some other training to see how to do that, because it really is good. I put that into what I do every day. I look at the sometimes 5, sometimes 10 likes that I'm getting now, and they're interested. Some of them are really interested, but I can only, you know, you only want to be dealing with the ones who are able to, and most of those folks from those countries are not able to come up with even a few dollars. So that's, you know, they're not going to be dealing with us. But you can encourage them in their life, encourage their education, encourage them to go, you know, because on my fan page, I have continuous output there, so that there's always something for them, for anybody to see real positive stuff. Okay, and so I said I had something I wanted to say. Don't worry about missing some of this training if it's out in areas that you aren't dealing with now. Miss it, and don't feel upset, and spend the time and get your leads in. that training will likely still be there when you're don't stop all together. Just realize that you can't do it all. You can't do it all. Even myself, with all the time I've got, and Dave with all the time that he's got, and anybody who's full time at this, they can't do everything.
I gotta say, Joe, that that whole thing about don't be in a hurry. Everybody's in such a damn hurry to get everything done, but they can't actually they can't focus. And I would say that's a very good point, is to stop being in such a hurry, stop being in such a rush to get to the end. Because honestly, it really only comes to you when you work at it one day at a time and you slowly start to master the strategies that you're doing. And you're a tremendous example of that, somebody who keeps working on it. One of the things that I really truly enjoy about Joe is the fact that if you tell him to do something, he'll keep working on it until he actually gets the result. He won't come back at you and come back at you and come back at you. I have had my dealings with Joe, because Joe is a person who loves to write, and sometimes he will send me messages. And after Charles Dickens has finished his essays, he will write something, and it'll just be this one flurry of a big essay by Charles Dickens, and I've got to read this whole thing. And I'm like, Joe, I don't have time to read all of that. Just tell me what it is you need. And then he kind of caught on and made a video. He made a small video and said, Joe, I got this question. Dave, I got this question I want to ask, and he makes his video. But I don't spend hours with him back and forth. He just gets the job done, and that is really what it's all about. It's not about holding people's hand, because you don't hold Joe's hand, and he doesn't hold your hand when he wants to get something done. He makes sure he works it out for himself, and that's a really great quality to have. Now, before because we're rounding off to the end of this hangout, I wanted to talk a bit more about the workshop that we have on Saturday. And for those of you who are watching, the Saturday workshop is something that we have for our teams. And the actual idea is that we get together on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you're in our teams, and we work together, and we encourage together, and we teach together for about 3 to 5, sometimes 6 hours. And we do a lot of coaching, a lot of encouraging, and a lot of rebuking when necessary to help people on the right track. And I know that Joe has been a part of that for some time. And Joe, can you speak to your experience about the workshop and what you've gained from that?
Yes, I really enjoy it. I'm here really cut off from. There's 500 folks in the community where I live, and that's one of the bigger communities on this coast. So but yet I know almost all these people because I've been here so long. So to have a community where I can come on Saturday, and Dave said, well, you have a few minutes to talk. Each person has a few minutes to talk about their week, and then you have an opportunity to teach. Well, I've made it a point the last few times. I think I maybe been here 8 or 9 weeks now, Dave. After the first couple of weeks, when you're just sitting there kind of watching and feeling your way through, I made a point of preparing and teaching something to get my mouth going, to get the experience, because that's what it's for, is to get the experience. Don't just, come and sit and watch. Yes, that's important up to a point. And then if you want to grow, it's all about growth. You've got to, and me, I'm 70 now. I got another 10 years perhaps before I'm drooling out one side of me mouth. And I'd like to get I'm feeling that I really want to get going in a some period of time, and I know I can, and I know I have to push, and I know I have to change me. I'm the problem here. If there is a problem in my business, I'm the bloody problem, and probably you are too. Whatever you're in your business, what's holding you back is you. So get in the group and get working on yourself. That's what I'd say. That's what I'm telling myself.
Absolutely, and I know that Joe is really stepping up to the plate inside of that workshop. I know that he's making an effort, and he does every single week. He tells me, he says, "Dave, I got something I want to teach," and when it's up for the time to teach, he goes for it, and he just grabs it, no matter if he's going to blunder, if he's going to make a mistake. He does it, and he wants feedback, and that's something I really, really admire about Joe. And just on that note, I just want everybody to understand that we have Joe McKenzie in the chat here. Joe McKenzie is turning 80.
Oh,
he's turning 80, and this guy, I just got to say, Joe McKenzie has a special place in my heart, because he was a guy. He actually met me when I went to Vegas. He met me in New York, and it was so weird the way we actually met, because I was walking around this huge airport, and I was trying to find Joe, and Joe was trying to find me. And Joe was actually going around asking, "Have you seen this guy, Dave?" And describing me. And eventually, I think somebody actually said, "Yes, I know this guy." And then I walked out of the door for a cigarette, and Joe said, "Hey, Dave, how you doing?" And he took me around New York for a bit. We went for a drink, and just an amazing guy. Turning 80, and this guy is the youngest 80-year-old I know. He's ready. He's still got all his marbles. He's as sharp as any 21-year-old I know. He's sharper to that degree, and he really has a great business in and of itself, because he helps people with health issues, and he's got a great product. So if you get a chance, go on Facebook, say hello to Joe McKenzie. He's just a terrific guy. And so I just want you guys to understand that it doesn't matter how old you are, you can still be in business, and you can still be a person who wants to get success online. And if these guys can do it, I'm telling you, man, anybody can do it. And so maybe, Jamie, you want to say something?
Yeah, and I know Joe said that he was going through a rough patch. Everybody goes through a rough patch. Dave goes through them. I go through them. Actually, I've been going through one here lately. I haven't got any substantial leads in the last couple of days. But I've been working on programs. And training systems and Facebook paid advertising. So I'm not taking as much action as I have before. When I quit taking action, my leads go down, like you said. So I need to get back into doing the action, write my blog post, and doing what I know. The basics. You need to do the basics every day. Write your blog post. Record a video, do a Facebook Live, something like that. You got to do some basic marketing every day to be productive, and your lead flow keeps going. If you stop doing it, then your lead stops. So, and that's about being consistent. And sometimes I get involved in a course and I forget about being consistent every day. And I see my lead. I log into my CRM. And I'm like, man, I haven't got any leads. I need to get back to work. But, as Dave said, Joe's consistent every day, and that's where he stands out. When he something like I taught, how to get the Facebook likes really cheap, he latched onto that. That was something that resonated with him. He latched onto that, and got good Facebook likes with it, and I'm learning Facebook lead pages now. So there's something else you'll be able to latch onto soon, Joe. So as I get it under my belt and can teach it, then that's something else I'm going to be delivering in the workshop. And, I don't teach all my trainings on my website or on my webinar every week. I teach it in the workshop for the workshop warriors to get all the good information. So if you want the good information, then you need to be a part of the Workshop Warrior Institute. So
Absolutely.
It's
Carry
been
on.
an amazing thing for me, I'll say.
And speaking of that, we also just want to announce quickly that we have Kirk Hayden, who is Member of the Month inside of the Workshop Warrior Institute. Kirk, if you're watching, that guy's a beast. He got started, I think, within his first month. He got like 140 leads, and he made his first sale, and we're just so proud of him because he's doing so well, and all under the leadership of Sonia Harris. And if you don't know who Sonia is, get out of the rock that you're living and go and check out what she's doing, because she's definitely somebody who's producing massive results. And this is the type of leadership that you can expect inside of the workshop that we have, because we've got people from all different types of backgrounds and strengths, and we are here to help each other. So I just want to say, Joe, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you, man. And you're a great inspiration to every single one of us. And I'm sure everybody that's watching will be saying, man, I got to get back into my business, because if Joe is doing this, then surely I can. And just so you know, just to clarify, I don't have that much free time on my hands because I am quite busy. Like I know that I got a big day. I got a huge day tomorrow because I know my mother needs to be taken to the hospital. Got to get some stuff sorted out. She's okay, but you know, that's going to be a day's event. And you know, if I stay up like the whole of tonight, and then I got to stay up the whole of tomorrow, and then the whole of tomorrow night, it can get quite exhausting. So, so I've actually got to carry on with my work tonight before I can actually go on tomorrow morning. But any last minute words you want to say to Joe? Some parting advice that you can give us to everybody who's an aspiring entrepreneur? What can you tell them?
Just don't stop, and just realize that you know, I used to worry about how I looked, and one of the things that helped me with that was the talk with some things I heard from Diane Hockman. And one of the things she said is, go look at my early stuff. Well, I went and looked at her early stuff, and her early stuff looked, and even some of her current stuff is really, she doesn't worry about what comes out of her mouth is so good that the rest of it doesn't matter. Well, I'm not as pretty as I could be, but something good is coming out. I am connecting with people, and I'm only worrying about that 10,000 that Dave was discussing. I don't need to connect with everybody, and I don't care. We were talking with Dave and I were talking about a person who I was talking to on the phone, and it wasn't anything that, you know, I couldn't do everything that this person wanted, and we'll see whether the system can or not. But that's all we can say, is that you can only do what you can do, but you got to keep doing it, because you're going to find that there are people who are coming onto my YouTube channel that I don't know. I see their names. I don't know who they are. I've had no connection with them. They're not familiar names to me that I've gone back on the well, now there's only like three of the six, I think, are people. I mean, I've only got 6 folks on there now, but I think three of them are ones I never have had contact with. So to me, that means folks are watching me. Isn't that wonderful? Folks are watching me. That's exactly what I want. The first time I had somebody who I was familiar with before, he says, "So what are you selling? I can't find out what you're selling." And I thought, oh dear. And when I told Dave, he was so pleased. He said, "You're doing just the right thing." Isn't it good? I'm really
Yeah,
enjoying myself.
No, I know, and we can see it. We can see it, and that's true. You know, I mean, if people don't know what you're selling, that's because the selling or the exchange of ideas comes into the back end where you're having conversations with people, and you're actually interacting with your customers, and you're having good relationships with them. I mean, that's the whole point. Is that we want to develop something here, which is attraction marketing. It's actually getting people to find you. It's not about you chasing your customers. And for me, I did that for a long time. It's just exhausting. It's the most exhausting thing you can ever do. And what better type of business model to have for people to actually walk in your own door and say, hey, I really am interested in what you have. Can you please give me some information? And that's really what this is about. It's attraction marketing. It's showing people that they can actually contact you. Instead of you going out being a car salesman and annoying the hell out of people. And as Bob Nevin, who was on here, he writes about a character called Fast Eddie, who's this car salesman who just gets under your skin. Post about that. But you don't want to be a Fast Eddie. You want to be somebody who who's a steady Sam, who's a guy that is really taking your information that you got to offer, that you really care about your customers and you want to help them. And that's exactly what we do here, right? If you ask anybody who is associated with us, we really do care about people. You know, Pat Patterson cares about you. Jamie cares about you. Jamie cares about you. I've got people here on the chat. Terry Miller, she cares about you. Shumeda, they really do care about you. Katie and Pops, I know they care about you, and they really are sad that they can't be here because they've got internet issues, but they absolutely do care about you. And if you've got some time, please just say hello to Pops and Katie. Just tell them that we're thinking about them and that we hope they get the internet issues sorted. Katie, in her humor, said to me, "Yeah, what can you do? First world countries, they drive you up the creek, right?" So, if you're having trouble in a first world country, I definitely have trouble in a third world country, and I've managed to be on live. Jamie, do you want to say any parting shots?
No, the only thing I want to say, you said something about a car salesman, and I have a car salesman that I've dealt with the last year. I bought 3 cars for him, and the guy never sold me one time. He asked me what I wanted. I told him what I wanted, told him what I could afford, and that's what he put together. He never once tried to sell me anything. He let me choose the vehicle, do whatever I want to do. He said, "I'm just here to help you. I'm not here to sell you nothing." And I thought that, I took a lot of notes from that because I thought that was excellent, because most car salesmen, they come in and they're in for the kill, and he wasn't. He was laid back and just there to help.
Cool. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to sign off and tell you that if somebody invited you here, you can go ahead and click on the link below where it says get started now. Take a look at what we've got to offer. And if you get signed up under that link, get in contact with us and we'll show you how you can actually be a part of the workshop, because there are criterias that you need to do in order to get in there. And it's not that difficult, but we are looking for action takers. And we definitely like you to be a part of our team so we can help you and encourage you and get you on the road to success. And we do give you real advice that you can use, and you can take it to any business that you want to start, including offline work if you do have that. But with that being said, we're going to say goodbye. And Joe, do us a favor, just stay on here and we'll share with you that $5,000 secret that we were talking about earlier.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. No, we're just playing with you. But just don't click off. Because some people, when they say goodbye, they just click off and that's it. You guys watching, we really appreciate you being here. And we will see you same time next week. Don't forget, Pat Patterson's webinar is on Wednesday. I know that Jamie has a hangout at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. And there's a whole bunch of stuff happening through the week. Please keep a lookout for that. And you can keep in contact with us. We'll see you later. Cheers. Bye-bye.